Now on CoastTV News.
Development delay. After a public hearing that lasted several hours on Wednesday, the move made by Sussex County Planning and Zoning that is a pause for now.
Lighthouse Road repairs. Delta is trying to move forward to replace this bridge in Fenwick Island. Why its completion date was delayed.
It's a damp, misty start to our Thursday. We'll finally say so long to this pesky coastal low and hello to the return of sunshine and summer-like warmth.
Late night fallout. Jimmy Kimmel's show on ABC is pulled. How his Monday night monologue created controversy in the Charlie Kirk assassination.
This is CoastTV News Today.
And we are now in our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning. I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. It is Thursday, September 18th, 2025.
Yeah, we got muggy conditions now as we are coming out of that rain system that Chris just talked about.
And mugginess means for frizzy hair.
Oh, yes.
Extra hairspray.
I know, for me.
Be careful when you go outside
You
today.
maybe not so much.
No,
Chris,
frizz is never a problem.
As we bring in First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono. Chris, your hair this morning looks marvelous.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't step on the right side that I. Well, I'll tell you what, we're dealing with some damp conditions out there this morning as we take a live look into Cambridge. Low clouds there, some patchy fog, but dealing with some misty conditions, especially along the Delaware coast. 64 in Cambridge. Winds are out of the northeast at about 5 miles an hour. You can see very faintly this moisture so low that the reflectivity of the radar doesn't really pick it up. But you can see it kind of pushing in off the bay and then off the Atlantic. So that's what we could see through much of the coastal areas through the morning is that mist and that low-level moisture as our area of low pressure parked right off our coast is going to continue to lift to the northeast. And in doing so, we're going to continue to see those skies gradually clear through the afternoon. Not seeing much in the way of fog across Delmarva at the moment. We're at 66 in Milton, 64 Delmar, 64 there in Bethany Beach. Winds pretty calm at this hour. And yes, we're going to begin the day with clouds, damp conditions, but by the afternoon, expecting a sunny finish. And then by Friday, it is going to feel like summer. And the weekend starts off on a pretty good note. Could see some clouds on the tail end of the weekend. So there's that cloudy start in the mid to upper 60s. On our way to highs today, mid to upper 70s. Some areas could touch 80 that clear out a little bit quicker than others. We'll talk more about the summer-like warmth tomorrow in that 7-day forecast. Matt.
Looking forward to that. Thank you, Chris. Our top story this hour is the decision made by Sussex County's Planning and Zoning Commission following a public hearing on the big shopping complex in eastern Sussex County. It's called Atlantic Fields, and it could bring popular stores like Costco, Target, and Whole Foods to the Lewes area. After a more than 4-hour meeting, Sussex County Planning and Zoning deferred action on rezoning the land. Developers want to build a nearly 700,000 square foot shopping center at the corner of Route 24 and Mulberry Knoll.
And to give you an idea of the location for Atlantic Fields, take a look at your screen. This is at Route 24 and Mulberry Knoll Road. It's an area just west of the Walmart on Coastal Highway.
This brings us to our Coast TV poll, and we want to know what concerns you most about the proposed shopping center. So let's take a look at the updated results.
And so far, traffic increase is the highest amount of votes with 54%. Then we have 40% is nothing at all, 4% over development risk, and 2% the environmental impact. And if you haven't voted yet, you can still do so on coasttv.com or over on our mobile app.
The placement of the Chad Spicer Memorial in Georgetown could be decided next week. Georgetown's Circle Advisory Committee met last night to finalize recommendations for Town Council. That could result in a new spot that is further from the Circle and closer to the fountain. This is for the memorial and markers honoring Spicer and former Chief Harvey Gregg. Both of them were damaged in car crashes at the Circle.
Jimmy Kimmel Live has been pulled off the air. ABC said Jimmy Kimmel Live will be preempted indefinitely following the late-night host's comments Monday about the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Kirk was killed last week at Utah Valley University. Nexstar Media Group and Corporation announced that the company's ABC affiliates would preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future.
And here's what Kimmel said on Monday night, quote, "The MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them doing everything they can to score political points from it. This is contrary to what the FBI says it is finding. Deputy Director Dan Bongino said the investigation is showing that the killer had been taken over by left-wing ideology.
President Trump is responding to the news about Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. The president posting on his Truth Social platform Wednesday night, writing in part, "Great news for America. The ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel's show is canceled. Congratulations on ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done." ABC's move comes just hours after Federal Communications Commission Chair Brendan Carr threatened to take action against Disney and ABC over Kimmel's remarks.
Happening today, President Trump continues his visit to the United Kingdom. Yesterday, he was part of a lavish state dinner and a day that was steeped in historical ceremony.
As NBC's Alice Barr shows us, Thursday's focus is on trade and the global economy.
President Trump turning to politics today after the pomp of a lavish royal banquet, capping a day of high ceremony in his unprecedented second state visit to the UK.
This is truly one of the highest honors of my life.
King Charles and the royal family treating the president and first lady to carriage rides and an elaborate military display in a clear effort to strengthen ties at a critical moment.
As tyranny once again threatens Europe, we and our allies stand together in support of Ukraine to deter aggression and secure peace.
Solidarity for Ukraine top of mind as the president meets today with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer at his country residence.
Donald Trump, you can't hide!
Away from the protests in London, focused also on the escalating war in Gaza. Prime Minister Starmer planning to formally recognize a Palestinian state after President Trump's visit, a move the president opposes. Looking for common ground through commerce, the two leaders working to refine the U.S.-UK trade deal.
We made a deal, and it's a great deal, and I'm into helping them. Our country is doing very well.
Joined today by a who's who of top American tech CEOs amid a Trump administration push to increase AI exports to allies and a newly announced U.S.-UK tech pact to advance AI and nuclear technologies, forging future ties in a long, enduring alliance. In London, Alice Barr, NBC News.
President Trump and Prime Minister Starmer are set to close the day with a press conference before the president boards Air Force One and returns to Washington tonight.
Fenwick is continuing its work in getting the state to achieve its self-imposed goal of cutting climate-changing emissions in half by 2030 compared to 2005. Part of that is getting public feedback. Its Division of Climate, Coastal and Energy is holding 3 engagement sessions. The next one is tonight in Georgetown from 4 to 7 o'clock at the Dell Tech William A. Carter Partnership Center. These meetings will build upon the first round of sessions held back in October 2024.
This morning, Ocean City police are searching for a suspect in a vandalism investigation. They say damage was done to a downtown parking garage gate on August 30th. Here are pictures the police department is providing, and they're asking for the public to help identify the suspect. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Ocean City Police. Anonymous tips can be phoned in at the number we are showing you at the bottom of your screen.
The Maryland Department of Natural Resources says it's received requests to change the 6-knot speed limit in the Fenwick Ditch to be minimum wake zones. It's an area just south of the Maryland-Delaware border. On your screen right now is a map of the Fenwick Ditch, with changes could take effect soon. MDR says this would affect a portion of the Ocean City Canals and Inlets regulated area. A boat advisory committee is meeting today at the TAWS State Office building. Later
today, we're expecting to receive an update about the bridge replacement work in Fenwick Island. It is a bridge on Lighthouse Road that goes over an inlet of the Assawoman Bay. According to DelDOT, they are holding a workshop tonight at the Roxana Fire Company, and they say they will present details of the work and the timing of the construction. Last fall, DelDOT reported that tidal and navigation issues delayed the completion date, and that workshop is scheduled to start at 4 p.m.
The Atlantic Marine Fisheries Commission is holding a hybrid public hearing this evening from 6 to 8 o'clock. The meeting will cover the Striped Bass Management Plan, the set of rules that guides how the fishery is regulated. Proposed changes include a 12% cut in fishery removals starting in 2026. People can attend in person at Denrick's Little Creek Hunter Education Center in Dover or join online through the state's meetings webpage. And we're just getting started this morning on Coast TV News Today.
Yeah, coming up, crops caught in crossfire, how a trade war with China is affecting Delmarva farmers.
Also, garden party, that is what is taking place today at the Delaware Botanic Gardens. The new structure they are celebrating and how it will be used going forward.
And Koopman's collection, one Delaware Veterans Museum, blends military history, motorsports, and more. It's this week's Coastal Connection, and it's next as we continue with Coast TV News Today.
From the romance of racing to the heartbreak of war, one Delaware man seems to have done it all. But instead of telling you about his life experiences, he prefers to show you. In this week's Coastal Connections, Emma Aiken introduces us to a man who has turned his incredible life into a private museum.
Look, you could feel the helmets.
Crazy.
That's something. You see, it's all sealed up yet.
That's how most interactions go at Walter Koopman's private museum in Lincoln.
But I really enjoy this because this is all very educational history, okay? There's nothing that you wouldn't want to show Grandma.
A pandemic project became an intricate display showcasing many historical events, many that Koopman lived himself.
When you do something and you've had your hands on it, or you've actually been involved in this, you don't have to make a story up.
Koopman says it's those firsthand experiences, like being the first American to win the Prix de Paris, that make it easy to give people a memorable visit.
And these are all the places that I've raced in Europe and then all over the United States.
All things cars, small models, to super speed racers that he's driven, each collectible with a unique story that Koopman can tell.
Well, after World War II, this was the economy car for the country of France. It was the people's car.
Koopman says his passion for racing grew during his downtime as a liaison in the Korean War. After serving in the Korean War and spending 27 total years in the Army, Koopman wanted to make sure Korean War veterans are remembered and represented here at home. He helped bring this memorial to Georgetown.
And since it's Sussex County, these are the 14 names of the deceased who were actually killed in action.
Koopman's museum showcases many eras and groups: the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Tuskegee Airmen, World War II, international automotive racing, and the Sports Car Club of America.
He did 409 combat missions between World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
And a lot of the memorabilia represents Koopman's dedication to serving others.
I would want people to remember me as a giving person.
Beyond his military service, Koopman is involved with the Korean War Veterans Association, the Cheer Community Center, and has served in countless other ways through historical exhibition, advocacy, and outreach.
My thing is public service.
Which is why Koopman's collection is free to visit. He only requests that you schedule an appointment so he can be directly involved in shaping your experience. From wheels to wings and a world of wisdom, Koopman leaves us with this.
I believe that life is a special occasion, and don't let it pass you by. Enjoy every day, because we have no guarantee we'll be here tomorrow.
For Coastal Connections, I'm Emma Aiken.
WRK, you know.
Time is 6:17, and we're getting a live look at a wet area in Cambridge. You can see a little boat going out there. You can see some of the clouds too. Chris, we are expecting to see some sun later today.
Oh yeah, we're starting off a bit on the gloomy side. We have some mist, especially along the Delaware coast, kind of that low-level moisture pushing in off the bay and the Atlantic. Can't even rule out a brief period of drizzle there along the Delaware coast here over the next few hours, but our area of low pressure is beginning to push off to the northeast, centered just to our east. In fact, high pressure is going to be building in, and yes, we're going to finally kick this pesky coastal low out of here. You can see the wet roadways out there. Not seeing any widespread rain, and that is all behind us. 64 right now in Salisbury. Can't rule out some isolated portions of the area. See some patchy fog. We're at 64 right now in Long Neck, 65 Milford, to 64 in Del Mar. You can see winds pretty calm, but that northerly wind flow is in place. But generally, we're pretty good as far as visibility is concerned. No widespread fog to speak of. So misty start gives way to decreasing clouds. Temperatures getting into the mid to upper 70s, and by Friday, wall-to-wall sunshine as we feel it's going to feel quite summer-like by tomorrow. 78 this afternoon, could touch 80 in a few locations that clear out quicker, places like Dover, Easton, Denton. Most of us are going to be in the mid to upper 70s, 78 into Salisbury to 78 in Ocean City. Futurecast shows the skies beginning to clear late this morning through the afternoon, and that is going to give way to a mostly clear night, cooler, upper 50s to lower 60s with, again, some patchy fog possible into early Friday, and then by the afternoon, plenty of sunshine as we see those temperatures rise into the mid to upper 80s. Average high 79 will dip to the mid 70s into Saturday to start the weekend. Backdoor cold front's going to be pushing through. We'll see more of a northeasterly wind kick in. Then by Sunday, we see a marine layer kind of push in here, so that may bring us more cloud cover second half of the weekend and also cooler temperatures. But high pressure is going to slide off to our southeast by the early part of next week, and that's going to allow above normal temperatures September 23rd through the 27th. So the weekend looking primarily dry. We're down to 72 into Sunday with mostly cloudy skies. We begin the week as we usher in fall, 78 partly cloudy, and then we see temperatures rising back into the lower to mid 80s Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. This morning, Delaware State Police issued a gold warning for a 16-year-old from Rehoboth Beach. According to state police, Michael Seymour was last seen on Coastal Highway near the Red Mill Inn in Lewes around 8 o'clock last night. There is concern for his safety and well-being. Anyone with information regarding his whereabouts is asked to contact Troop 7 at 302-644-5020.
Midway through the month of September, and the Seaford Volunteer Fire Department is making available their stats for August. According to the department, they had over 100 fire calls last month, and 59 of those were within city limits. Year to date, the department has responded to 868 fire calls. In August, EMS worked 384.
We have an update on a story we have been covering out of Lewes. The Hornkill Avenue Annexation Committee moved to recommend the annexation to the Lewes City Council. This is for the effort by people living on Hornkill Avenue to become part of city limits. Here's the area we are talking about. It starts at 18 Hornkill Avenue and it moves southwest. Part of the committee's review included the financial impacts of annexation and zoning and land use analysis.
Coming up next, soybean tariff trouble, how Delmarva farmers are facing fallout from a trade war with China. CoastTV News Today returns in a moment.
One big Delmarva industry might be caught in the crossfire in a trade war between U.S. and China. This is soybean farms. Local farmers are sounding the alarm that they're facing a 20% retaliatory tariff. China is the largest customer of U.S. soybeans, buying 25 million metric tons in 2023 and 2024. If China buys from South America instead, that could mean a huge loss in revenue.
It's creating less demand with the soybean, with the lack of trade. It's creating less demand for soybeans to be moved overseas to export markets, and lowering the price. With our high input costs, is just creating thin margins for us to survive on.
And data from the American Soybean Association shows if the tariffs stand, Brazil will supply 60% of soybean global imports, and the U.S. will only supply 26%.
Later today, the Delaware Botanic Gardens in Dagsboro celebrating its new 3,300 square foot Annette Pannoni Meadow Pavilion. Now, the pavilion is named after the late wife of Chuck Pannoni, who was a longtime supporter of the gardens. Groundbreaking occurred about a year ago. The pavilion allows the gardens to host events in an air-conditioned and heated space.
Well, fall starts on Monday, so we're hoping for one final clear, nice weekend in summer.
Yeah, that's right. And after the wind and rain this week, Chris, rip currents are still a concern.
Yeah, you know, we've had a high risk over the last few days. Today, moderate risk, 2 to 4 foot waves expected along our shore points. And you can see here we're looking live into ocean view, overcast skies. See some breaks there in the clouds, but we are dealing with a lot of low clouds and mist, especially at the coast. 64 ocean view, winds are calm. So we begin the day in Ocean City and Fenwick Island in the lower to mid 60s with cloud cover and drizzle. By the afternoon, we see the clouds break and sunshine return with temperatures in the lower to mid 70s. Lewes, cloudy start, 67 there to 76 by around 5 under partly cloudy skies, that moderate risk of rip currents. Cambridge, cloudy start, the low clouds, 76 by around 5. Crisfield, 73 by around 5 o'clock, so a pleasant afternoon. Greg Petrucci, Laurel, Delaware, you're the winner of our Paul Davis weather umbrella from CoastTV, and you get your forecast anytime by dialing the First Alert Weather phone. We'll talk more about that summer-like feel returning to Delmarva tomorrow in my full forecast next half hour. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. Still ahead, replacing Fenwick Island Bridge, what DelDOT is expected to reveal today and why the project's completion date was pushed back.
Also, Climate Cut Drive. It's the latest effort by DENREC in getting to their goals of emissions reductions in the state.
And shift after circle crashes, what Georgetown is considering for its memorials after recent damage from cars. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
Now on Coast TV News.
Marker movement plan. After damage to memorials in the Georgetown Circle, what was recommended last night for future locations?
Lighthouse Road repairs. DelDOT is trying to move forward to replace this bridge in Fenwick Island. Why its completion date was delayed.
It's a damp, misty start to our Thursday. We'll finally say so long to this pesky coastal low and hello to the return of sunshine and summer-like warmth.
Emissions effort. The feedback DENREC is looking to receive for Delaware's goals in reducing emissions by the end of the decade.
This is Coast TV News Today.
September 18th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
And we're closing in on 6:30 this Thursday morning, and at some point, the clouds are going to move out today.
Yes, we're hoping for some better weather. I know this weekend's kind of tough for you. It's the final weekend of your favorite season.
I know.
Summer is coming to
Although
a
I might
close.
try to milk it. In my mind,
yeah.
All of September is a
September
summer
is.
month. I know that
Yes.
Chris, as we're bringing in First Alert
Chris
meteorologist,
has been in fall.
Chris Mastrobono, I know that flies in the face of meteorological fall
Yeah.
and what the calendar says.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, temperatures have been all over the place this month so far. We had some 90s, we had some 80s, and I'll tell you what, temperatures right now are in the 60s. And take a look at the low cloud deck we have here in Laurel. Overcast skies, but you can see the low clouds, misty conditions, very damp out there this morning. We're at 65 Laurel. Winds are relatively calm, and you can see we're going to be in the clouds through the morning. It's not until by the lunchtime hour we'll begin to see those clouds begin to clear. So dealing with the mist, especially along the coast, maybe even a little bit of drizzle there. You see a little tiny shower there pushing towards Dewey Beach, but most of this moisture is exiting to the east, and our area of low pressure center just to our east is going to be lifting to the northeast throughout the day today. Fog, not really a big issue at the moment. We're seeing the low clouds at the moment through most of the area. 65 Rehoboth, 64 in Bethany Beach to 65 in Salisbury. There's the calm winds, northerly wind flows, some wet roads out there. We're saying bye-bye to the coastal low that's been a thorn in our side over the last few days. Highs today mid to upper 70s, a taste of summer as we roll into Friday. Wall-to-wall sunshine, and the weekend starts off sunny and really nice. But then we could see a little bit of wrinkle in the forecast as we go into Sunday in the form of some cloud cover. We'll talk more about that in my full 7-day forecast a little later on the newscast. Matt.
All right, thank you, Chris. We might see a decision on the placement of the Chad Spicer Memorial in Georgetown next week. Georgetown Circle Advisory Committee met on Wednesday to finalize recommendations for Town Council, and that included a new location for the memorial and markers honoring former Chief Harvey Gregg after both of the memorials were damaged in crashes.
And the recommended new spot would be further from the road and closer to the fountain on the Circle. Coast TV photojournalist Matt Hipsman takes us to the final Circle Advisory Committee meeting.
Those monuments mean something to the family and to the people of the town.
We are hoping to close out this committee and present our recommendations to the Town Council next Monday night. We are recommending that plaques memorial bricks can be placed in the circle.
One of the things the Circle Committee has done is moved from their original locations, which were in harm's way, obviously, and kind of offset those from the traffic as it enters the circle. So just that in and of itself will add a layer of safety, not only to the monument, but to the people who may be visiting the monument.
Upon adoption of the recommendations by the mayor and council, the committee closes.
I think the town council will approve our recommendations. We've been meeting for over a year now, and the different recommendations we brought forward have been received well.
The Delaware Department of Insurance has fined United Healthcare Insurance $450,000. The state says there were coverage disparities, prescription issues, and drug processing gaps.
The Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission is holding a hybrid public hearing this evening from 6 to 8 o'clock. The meeting will cover the striped bass management plan, the set of rules that guides how the fishery is regulated. Proposed changes include a 12% cut in fishery removals starting in 2026. People can attend in person at Denrec's Little Creek Hunter Education Center in Dover or join online through the state's meetings webpage.
Denrec is inviting the public to weigh in on the state's climate future. The agency's Division of Climate, Coastal, and Energy holding 3 engagement sessions. Sussex County meetings taking place tonight from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Deltec William A. Carter Partnership. These meetings will build upon the initial round of sessions held in October of 2024. Those are guiding updates to a plan that was first published in 2021.
This morning, the Ocean City Police Department is searching for a suspect in a vandalism investigation. They say damage was done to a downtown parking garage gate on August 30th. Here are pictures of the police department they're providing. They are asking for the public to help identify the suspect. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Ocean City Police Department. Anonymous tips can be phoned in at the number we are showing you at the bottom of your screen.
Students returned to class Wednesday at Utah Valley University just days after conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at an event on campus. The university reopened its doors to students, offering counseling and other support services. A vigil for unity is scheduled for Friday. Approximately 45,000 students attend Utah Valley University. This is about 40 miles from Salt Lake City, and it is the largest university in the state. Later today, we're expecting to receive an update about the bridge replacement work in Fenwick Island. It is a bridge on Lighthouse Road that goes over an inlet of the Assawoman Bay. And according to DELDOT, they're holding a workshop tonight at the Roxana Fire Company, and they say they'll present details of the work and the timing of construction. Last fall, DELDOT reported that tidal navigation issues delayed the completion date, and that workshop is scheduled to start at 4 p.m.
New this morning, Camp Rehoboth has announced that Executive Director Kim Lacey will retire in January 2026. The community center says Lacey will stay on to help guide a smooth transition. Lacey joined Camp Rehoboth in 2023. The organization says a search committee led by President Leslie Lediger will soon begin looking for the new executive director.
Got a heads up for drivers in Salisbury. A road closure is taking effect today. The city says a private contractor will terminate existing water service. This is part of the Tidal Health Community Center project. That work will shut down Naylor Street from Benny Street to East Church Street. And this is taking place today through Friday, September 19th, weather permitting.
This week is Construction Appreciation Week in Delaware, and the Delaware Department of Labor and DELDOT are hosting free workshops, presentations, and job fairs. Friday, there is a hard hat and high heels workshop highlighting women in construction. The event is at United Electric Supply in Newcastle County.
The Maryland Department of Natural Resources says it is receiving requests to change the 6-knot speed limit in the Fenwick Ditch to be minimum wake zones. This is an area just south of the Maryland-Delaware border. Now on your screen right now, we have a map of the Fenwick Ditch. That's where the changes could take effect. MDNR says this would affect a portion of the Ocean City Canals and Inlets regulated area. A boat advisory committee will meet on September 18th at the TAWS State Office building. And we have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up after the break, honoring Harriet Tubman, a look at a history marker unveiled on the Eastern Shore.
Also, a historic rivalry in Salisbury. We have a preview of tonight's big city football matchup between Bennett and Parkside.
And Cracker Barrel struggles the latest customer data after the restaurant faced major criticism over a proposed logo change and renovations. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
Good Thursday morning. Del Marva getting ever so closer to the weekend and ever so closer to getting these clouds out of here. Taking a live look into a gloomy Cambridge. Winds are pretty calm, but it is a rather damp start to the day. 64 there. Winds out of the northwest at about 7 miles an hour. We've seen rather misty conditions, especially along Coastal Highway this morning. Some showers and drizzle just offshore, but most of the shower activity has ended as this area of low pressure just to our east continues lifting off further to the northeast, and that's going to allow for the clouds to clear later today. We're at 66 in Milton, 67 Lewes, 65 in Ocean City. So morning clouds, damp start, some misty conditions to start, but by the afternoon expecting sunshine to break out as the cloud deck clears and temperatures turn milder, mid to upper 70s, and it gets even warmer into our Friday. We'll talk more about that here in just a few moments. Elisa.
Thank you, Chris. Cracker Barrel is reporting a drop in customer visits after intense backlash over a proposed logo change and renovations. Wednesday, the company said traffic has fallen 8% since August 19th. The old-time restaurant chain said if the trend continues, it expects the rest of the first quarter of 2026 financial year to be impacted. Cracker Barrel had plans to renovate its restaurants, but it only completed 4 remodels by the time it paused the effort earlier this month.
In St. Louis, Missouri this week, Boeing union workers continued their strike after a tentative agreement between the union and company was rejected by members. That proposed deal reportedly included higher wages and brought back a signing bonus. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers Union, they reportedly turned down this offer because they said the signing bonus was not in line with what other Boeing workers get. Boeing executive said in a statement the union voted on an offer never made, with terms that were not acceptable.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Good morning, beautiful people. The end of the week is near. We're a day closer to Friday, but we're getting high school football a day early. It's a rivalry in Salisbury between J.M. Bennett and Parkside on Thursday night on DSN. These teams both come into this contest sitting at 1-1. Parkside impressed in its opening game against Delmar, winning 34-14, but then suffered a 32-13 loss at the hands of Easton the week after. J&B is coming into this matchup with all the momentum after an impressive 19-0 shutout win over CSD, and Parkside head coach Brendan Riley says he's making sure his guys are ready to get back in the W column.
You can't take them lightly. You know, they got some guys that could do some explosive things. I think their quarterback gets out in the range and is able to throw the ball all over the place. You know, and then from a defense's perspective, they like to bring pressure. So we know that about them. The nice thing is the continuity of staff and kind of recognizing what it is that individuals like to do. So I think, you know, our goal is going to be to get prepared for what it is that we think that they're going to do, and then have a backup plan for, you know, when they try and throw the kitchen sink at us. You know, with the style of stuff that we do, and we saw that in Easton, you know, they prepared in a way that they did not prepare last year, and, you know, that caught us. So I want to make sure that I get my guys every opportunity to be prepared, and I got to do a better job.
It's going to be a good one. Tune in to DSN at 5:45 for pregame and kickoff at 6 p.m. That'll do it for sports. Have a great day.
And here's what's coming up tonight on DSN at 5:30, Scoops and Scores pregame show. And then at 6, it is that Bennett Parkside game. 11, we have the final score. On DSN Plus, you get that football game along with these exclusives. At 5, girls volleyball when Queen Anne's visits North Carolina. 5:30, it's Decatur hosting Mardella in girls soccer. In field hockey, we have Milford at Sussex Academy, and Appoquinimink is at Cecil Rodney for a boys soccer matchup.
Well, fall isn't just for football, it's for marching band too, and the Delmarva Sports Network will cover 6 marching band competitions featuring over a dozen schools from across the peninsula. These competitions will stream exclusively on DSN+. The first one is scheduled for Saturday, September 20th.
Sunday Night Football's back on Coast TV this Sunday, September 21st. The Kansas City Chiefs are in the Big Apple to face the New York Giants. Coverage begins at 7, only here on Coast TV, and then stay with us for our local news after this game.
Jack Black and Paul Rudd take on a new Anaconda and a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne's last days as a performer. Here's Rick Damangella with today's Hollywood Minute.
We're in the middle of the jungle and we are being hunted.
Anaconda is back. Jack Black and Paul Rudd try to outrun a giant snake in a reimagining of the 1997 horror film. See if the pair survive when the film comes to theaters on December 25th.
People thought I was that miserable cow that never smiled.
An inside look at Victoria Beckham. The former Spice Girl has a new docuseries that follows her road from pop star to fashion designer. Fans will get a peek behind the scenes when Victoria Beckham premieres on Netflix October 9th.
If my life's coming to an end, I really can't complain. I had a great life.
A look at Ozzy Osbourne's final days on stage. An upcoming documentary captures the late rock star as he records his last album and his concluding live performance. Ozzy, No Escape From Now will be available to stream on Paramount Plus starting October 7th. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damangella.
And here's what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4 p.m.
Hope you're having a good day so far, but if you tune in at 4 o'clock on Coast Life, here's what's coming your way. It's Thursday, which means we're spilling some tea, spilling some drama. And this one, I have some questions as to whether or not it was my coworkers that wrote in about me, and it has to do with sneezing coworkers in the office. We're also going to be chatting with our friends at Preston Automotive Group to talk about how you can give back to the community with an upcoming food drive and so much more. All of that happening at 4 o'clock. We will see you then on Coast Life.
Well, it's a damp start to our Thursday. A lot of low clouds, some misty conditions along the coast. Beginning the day in the low to mid 60s. We're going to see the 70s and sunny skies by this afternoon. We'll talk more about that and a big warm up coming to round out the week. A full forecast right after the break.
The time is now 6:48 and we are taking a live look outside at Laurel this morning. This camera usually gives us a beautiful sunrise, Chris. Not this morning, seeing a lot of haze out there on our camera. Just another gloomy day this week.
Yeah, you know, we're slowly clearing, slowly getting better here through the afternoon. We're dealing with a lot of low clouds, some mist, especially along the coast. You can see that moisture kind of feeding in off the bay and as well as the Atlantic. So we're going to continue to see the mist and some drizzle along the coast, especially at least for the next few hours. But our area of low pressure pushing off the coast. Area of low pressure centered in the Atlantic there just to our east is going to be pushing to the northeast, and then we're going to see high pressure build in, and that's going to allow for skies to clear. We're at 65 right now in Salisbury, a damp start there. You see the overcast skies. We're at 64 Millsboro, 66 Milton, and 65 in Seaford. Wind not a factor, seeing winds anywhere from about 5 to 10 miles an hour along the coast. Fog hasn't really been an issue this morning, but we could see some patchy fog there along the eastern shore and midshore this morning. Mild by this afternoon. Once we shed this mist this morning, we're going to see decreasing clouds through the afternoon and then a mostly sunny summer-like Friday with temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. There's the clouds to start this morning. The clouds should begin to break after the lunchtime hour. Futurecast shows those clouds breaking through the afternoon. Temperatures getting into the mid to upper 70s, maybe a few 80-degree temperatures for those areas that clear out quicker. Lower upper 50s to lower 60s by Friday morning with some patchy fog, and then by the afternoon, wall-to-wall sunshine with highs in the mid to upper 80s. So we're 78 today, 87 by your Friday. Average high 79. Now we'll have a weak backdoor cold front that's going to be pushing through late Friday into Saturday. Dry front, we'll see more of a northeasterly wind flow. That's going to allow for temperatures to fall into the mid to upper 70s. Then as we go into Sunday, see a marine layer push in here, and that's going to allow for a bit more cloud cover into our Sunday and even a brief shower chance, but I think most of the day is dry. High pressure then slides to our southeast early next week, and that allows for milder, warmer temperatures as we round out the month of September. 6 to 10-day temperature outlook, 23rd to the 27th above normal temperatures. So we're at 76 for Saturday, mostly sunny skies, a mostly cloudy Sunday, cooler 72 with that marine layer, and then as we usher in fall, 78 partly cloudy skies, and then we're bumping those temperatures into the lower to mid 80s through the early middle part of next week.
Thank you, Chris. A new historical marker honoring Harriet Tubman was unveiled on Wednesday in Dorchester County. The updated sign replaces one that has stood since 1967. The old marker contained 3 key inaccuracies. It incorrectly placed Tubman's birthplace in Bucktown rather than on Anthony Thompson Farm about 10 miles away. The second issue was an inaccurate number of enslaved people Tubman freed. And the third, the Maryland Department of Transportation didn't go through Tubman's living descendants for approval. Well, that all changed on Wednesday.
We were able to unveil an historical marker that is now historically accurate. The words were chosen by the descendants and relatives of Harriet Tubman, and to be able to be part of that today was amazing.
And the new marker will be installed along Greenbrier Road where Tubman once lived. And the time is now 6:51, and we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
And today's coastal pet of the day is Daisy, who, as you can see, loves to chew up some stuff and get lots of love. You say, Elisa, Daisy's got the guilty look going on.
She has the guilty ears. I've seen those ears before. I have.
Daisy was submitted to us by Maria in Ocean View.
Hopefully she didn't get into anything. Well, we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
That's where that QR code is. Scan that, get your friends to us, and then watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
It is 6:55, and it's time for the things you need to know before you go. This morning, Ocean City Police are searching for a suspect in a vandalism investigation. They say damage was done to a downtown parking garage gate on August 30th. Here are pictures the police department is providing. They are asking for the public to help identify the suspect. Anyone with information is asked to contact the department. Anonymous tips can be phoned in at the number we are showing you on your screen.
Placement of the Chad Spicer Memorial in Georgetown could be decided next week. Georgetown Circle Advisory Committee met Wednesday night to finalize recommendations for Town Council, which could result in a new spot that is further from the road in the circle and actually closer to the fountain. This is for the memorial and markers honoring Spicer and former Chief Harvey Gregg.
One big Delmarva industry might be caught in the crossfire with the trade war between the U.S. and China. Soybean farms, local farmers are sounding the alarm that they're facing a 20% retaliatory tariff. China is the largest customer of U.S. soybeans, buying 25 million metric tons in 2023 and 2024. If China buys from South America instead, that could mean a huge loss in revenue.
New historical marker honoring Harriet Tubman was unveiled on Wednesday in Dorchester County. The updated sign replaces one that had stood since 1967. That old marker had a couple of inaccuracies. It incorrectly placed Tubman's birthplace in Bucktown rather than on the Anthony Thompson Farm about 10 miles away. And the second issue was an incorrect number of enslaved people Tubman freed. The third, the Maryland Department of Transportation didn't go through Tubman's living descendants for approval.
The time is now 6:56, and we are going to take another look at your Thursday forecast before you head out the door.
Chris and going Blake Shelton bringing back the sunshine today.
Yes. Oh, yes. After this pesky coastal low, finally kicking the clouds out of here. It's been a rather gloomy morning with some patchy mist as well as some drizzle along the coast. But by the afternoon, we shed the clouds, sunshine returns, and we'll squeak out temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. And it gets even better into our Friday. Mostly sunny skies, 87. So, yes, feels like summer as we round out our final weekend of summer. But we have a weak cold front that comes through late Friday to Saturday. We'll drop back into the mid 70s for Saturday. And then we'll see more cloud cover into Sunday with an east wind, 72. Fall arrives Monday afternoon, 78. And then look at that, a little bump in temperature Tuesday and Wednesday of next week as we see temperatures rise back into the 80s.
All right, thank you, Chris, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Today.
Yeah, the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV News midday at 11.
And for even more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great Thursday morning, everybody.